11:47 p.m., my stepmother called and said, "We'll be there tomorrow." Your father already agreed. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I said, "Of course, I'll get everything ready." Because she thought she was moving into my home. What she didn't know was that the phone call wasn't just disrespectful. It was evidence. And the surprise I planned wasn't loud. It was legal. It was public. And it ended her entire reputation in one night. I'm Nora Lane, 33, based in Savannah, Georgia. For 12 years, I lived like someone with a secret. No designer bags, no flashy car, just work, discipline, and a long-term plan. Because my dream wasn't a vacation. It was a place. A coastal house with a porch that faced the ocean. A home where I could breathe. By spring 2025, I finally bought it. Not inherited, not gifted, mine. A quiet, expensive victory that I didn't announce to anyone. Especially not my family. Because my family has always treated joy like something they can claim. My mother died when I was 17. My father didn't fall apart loudly. He disappeared into work quietly. 2 years later, he married Celeste. At first, she was charming. She brought pies to holidays, smiled too wide, and called me sweetheart like it was a brand. Then the soft part ended. Little things changed first. My childhood room became storage. Holiday photos somehow never had space for me. My college funding was a learning opportunity. Meanwhile, her son got everything paid. Celeste's favorite line was always the same. "I'm not being cruel, I'm being practical." Translation: I'm cutting you out, and you'll feel guilty for noticing. So I stopped fighting. I stopped explaining myself. And I started building my life somewhere she couldn't reach. Or so I thought. The first night I slept in my new house, I was sitting on the porch. Waves, wind, a glass of water, the kind of silence that feels like healing. Then my phone lit up. Celeste, 11:47 p.m. "No, congratulations. No, I'm happy for you," she said. "Good timing. Your father and I need a change of scenery. We're moving in tomorrow." I didn't speak. She continued like she was reading a checklist. "Master bedroom is ours. The upstairs suite is for my son. You can take the small room by the laundry. You're used to small." I finally asked, "Did my dad actually say that?" "He's asleep," she snapped. "Don't wake him. You know his health, and if you don't like it, you can stay somewhere else." My hand was shaking around the phone, but my voice came out steady. "Absolutely," I said. "I'll prepare everything." She hung up like she'd won, and I sat there in the dark staring at the ocean, realizing this wasn't about visiting, this was about taking. At 12:15 a.m., I called my father. He picked up immediately, wide awake. "Nora?" he said. "Is everything okay?" I asked him directly. "Did you tell Celeste she could move into my house?" Long pause. Then he said quietly, "No, she told me you invited us for the weekend." That's when the last puzzle piece clicked into place. If she could forge his words that easily, she could forge his signature too. And deep down, I already knew. Something had been off for a while. I have an attorney. His name is Evan Rhodes. Real estate and financial misconduct. When I called him at 7 a.m., he didn't ask for drama. He asked for facts. I told him what Celeste said. Then I told him what my father said. Evan went quiet, then said, "I need to check something I flagged last year." By noon, he emailed me a file. A property transfer deed, my father's signature on it. Moving a family property into an LLC I'd never heard of. The LLC's owner, Celeste. I compared my father's real signature to the deed. It didn't match. Not even close. Evan arranged a forensic document examiner. And while that was happening, he dug deeper. What he found wasn't family conflict. It was a pattern. Unusual withdrawals. New credit activity. Transfers routed into accounts not clearly connected to my father. Evan said one sentence that changed my stomach into ice. "This isn't controlling behavior, Nora. This is financial exploitation." Next morning, 2 SUVs pulled into my driveway. Suitcases, clothing racks, boxes of decor. Celeste stepped out first, scanning my porch like a landlord. "Not bad," she said. "We'll make it presentable." Presentable. In my home. Her son walked in behind her and said, "Which room is mine?" Like it was a hotel. My father came last. One bag, confused eyes, apologetic face. He mouthed, "I'm sorry." I didn't answer. because I wasn't going to fight in private anymore. Celeste did what she always did. She moved fast so nobody had time to question her. Within an hour, my clothes were moved. Her things took over the master closet. My keys somehow went missing, and she started hosting little friends in my living room. That night she introduced the house as if she purchased it. She smiled and told her guests, "We finally got our coastal place. It's been a dream." I washed dishes in my own kitchen and listened to strangers praise her taste. And I let it happen. Not because I was weak, because I was collecting proof. Celeste's oxygen has always been reputation. She lives for the rooms where people clap. So Evan asked me, "Do you want this handled quietly, or where she can't rewrite it?" There was one perfect stage, a big charity gala where Celeste was scheduled to receive an award. Not Woman of the Year, something like it. A title she'd use to control people for the next decade. Evan said, "If we present verified evidence through proper channels, they'll stop the award before she touches the microphone." So we built the plan. Forensic report. Verified bank records, subpoenaed properly. Sworn affidavit from my father. Documentation of shell companies and transfers. And most importantly, we prepared my father, because he couldn't be blindsided. He needed to stand up with the truth in his hands. 2 weeks before the gala, I took my dad for a walk on the beach. I didn't scream. I didn't accuse. I laid documents out like a presentation. When he saw the deed, his face drained. "I didn't sign this," he whispered. Then he started shaking. Not anger, shock, shame, because he realized he'd been living beside someone who was quietly draining his life. He signed the affidavit. He agreed to financial oversight. And for the first time in years, he looked at me and said, "I should have protected you." That was the moment I stopped feeling like a guest in my own bloodline. The ballroom was expensive and bright, the kind of place where people smile with their teeth but watch with their eyes. Celeste walked in glowing, dress perfect, jewelry loud, confidence rehearsed. My father sat beside her, silent. I sat farther back with Evan. When the host announced the award, Celeste sat taller. Then the organizer stepped to the mic and said, "Before we proceed, we've received verified information requiring review." The room shifted. Celeste's smile froze. "Miss Nora Lane," the organizer said, "you've been asked to present your documentation." Celeste snapped, "This is a charity event, not court." But the evidence had already been reviewed privately. I walked to the stage holding a single envelope. The room was silent in a way that felt heavy. I said, "I'm not here to embarrass anyone. I'm here because my father's name was used without his consent, and his assets were redirected without his knowledge." Then I showed the forged deed, the forensic conclusion, the account routes, the affidavit from my father. My father stood up and said the simplest sentence in the world. I didn't authorize any of it. That's when Celeste's reality cracked, not because of the papers, because the one person she controlled finally stopped cooperating. She tried the tears, the performance, but the room didn't move toward her. It moved away, because reputation doesn't survive documents. She left early, and nobody followed. The next morning she tried a public story. "I'm being targeted. I'm misunderstood. But facts don't care." A journalist picked up the verified documents. Sponsors pulled away. The committee launched an audit. My father filed for divorce. Accounts were frozen. Investigations opened. And my house? The locks changed. Not dramatically, legally. Celeste texted, "You'll regret this." But the only regret I had was waiting so long to stop shrinking. If you're listening and you're the person who always keeps the peace, check whose peace you're protecting. Some people call boundaries revenge. They only say that when your boundaries interrupt their benefits. And if someone tries to move into the life you built, remember, you don't owe them space in your home just because they share your last name.